Hello and welcome to This Week with Ajaz Haque. It is Sunday today, March the 7th, 2021. PM Imran Khan wins a vote of confidence from the National Assembly. Number two, the PTI challenges the electoral victory of Mr. Yousuf Gilani as a senator, and they have filed an appeal with the Election Commission of Pakistan asking them to investigate. The NA 75 election results that were the Election Commission had decided that the entire repolling needs to take place has been challenged in the Supreme Court by the PTI candidate. The U.S. Senate passes the bill for $1.9 trillion for pandemic relief. It was earlier passed by the House. The Senate has made some changes, and it will now go back to the House. Pope Francis visits Iraq, first ever visit by a pope to Iraq. FPR signs a pact to activate track and trace system, and finally a roundup of the financial markets. Following the shock defeat of Mr. Hafiz Sheikh, Finance Minister, who was the PTI candidate for the Senate seat, the Prime Minister of Pakistan decided to have a vote of confidence in order to get things moving again. And yesterday, the National Assembly gave him a confidence vote by 178 votes. The opposition abstained from attending. Now, when he became Prime Minister 2.5 years ago, he had received 176 votes. So he received 2 more votes this time. The opposition, which had been celebrating the victory in Senate, or one seat victory in Senate, stayed away from the National Assembly proceedings, mainly because they knew they did not have the votes and they cannot bribe in an open vote, whereas the Senate vote was a secret ballot and the vote of confidence is by show of hands. So they deliberately stayed away from the National Assembly. However, it's a great victory for Imran Khan. Now, outside the National Assembly building, the PTI workers were celebrating, and some senior PMLN leaders very stupidly decided to go and hold a press conference in the middle of that crowd and use some abusive language against the Prime Minister. And as a result, they were beaten up thoroughly, and some shoes landed on one of the guy's head. And it seems it was a very foolish move to go into a charged PTI crowd. Anyway, the Prime Minister now will be stronger, and he has to deliver. 2.5 years have gone. Another 2. He acknowledged that the prices are very high, and he needs to bring the cost of living down. And this is probably the most important challenge that's facing him. I don't think he'll face the opposition challenge in the same manner as the cost of living challenge. So he has to deliver, and he has to improve governance, and he has to get rid of all the baggage that is in this government, hangers-on, advisors, ministers, and so on. He should have a smaller cabinet, maybe of 15 people, and then focus on that rather than on 55 people. Now, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, PTI, has approached the Election Commission challenging the election victory of Mr. Yousuf Gilani in the Senate, mainly on 2 grounds. One, that Gilani's son was offering bribes, and it was caught on video. And that video has been viral and been shown on all news channels, except that the Election Commission failed to take any action. And secondly, Maryam Nawaz, the daughter of former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, claimed that they won the seat by offering tickets for their party, which is also inducement, and it's also illegal under the Constitution. So they may both face charges, provided the Election Commission plays its role, but so far they have miserably failed to do so. Now, the United States Senate has approved a $1.9 trillion pandemic relief fund. Each and every American will receive $1,400 under this. The House had passed this bill earlier. The Senate passed it last night. However, they made several amendments to the House bill, so it will now go back to the House for approval. However, in the next 2-3 days, it's likely to be approved, and the check should start going out to the needy. Now, Pope Francis is visiting Iraq right now. He's on a 4-day trip. This is the first ever visit by a pope to Iraq. And the Vatican said that the meeting in Iraq with Ayatollah Sistani underlined the importance of collaboration between faiths. The Pope also had an interfaith meeting at a place called Ur, which is the birthplace of Prophet Abraham, the prophet of Christians, Muslims, and Jews. And so hopefully the Pope's visit to Iraq will help things. However, before the Americans imposed a war on Iraq and destroyed it, there was a very good interfaith harmony in Iraq. The Christians, the Muslims, the Shias, the Sunnis all lived side by side, and there was never any friction between them. I have personally spent a lot of time in Iraq, and I was very impressed with the way the religions that mingle together. But the war on Iraq destroyed most of that. Now, the Federal Bureau of Revenue, FBR, desperately trying to increase revenue and failing miserably year after year, has now decided to sign a pact with a consortium, an agreement with a consortium to activate track and trace system. This will help them track the movement of cement, sugar, fertilizer, and several other things, so they can collect taxes on it and excise duties and so on. It's a pity that in a country of 220 million people, there are only 2.4 million tax filers, and out of those, probably only 1.4 million actually pay taxes. It's the salaried class which faces the burden. As pointed out by Sheikh Rashid in the National Assembly meeting yesterday, he said that the salaried people are the ones who are suffering the most because of high cost of living, and that they need a relief. Indeed, the tax needs to be raised from everyone who's earning, who has an income, so that the burden doesn't just fall on a few, and the indirect taxes can be reduced, which are substantial at the moment. Indirect taxes are normally a statement of failure to collect direct taxes. One hopes that FBR will wake up to its responsibilities, and instead of collecting a meager 4 or 5 trillion, will raise this to 10 or 20 trillion rupees in the next 2 to 3 years. The potential is far greater, but a lot of people do not pay tax, and the FBR seems to be okay with that, and I think they have to wake up and take it seriously. Now, finally, a roundup of the financial markets. S&P 500 was up 1.3% on the week. Nasdaq was down 2.1% on the week. FTSE was up 2.2% on the week. Shanghai stock market was even, so was the Pakistan stock market. Mumbai Sensex was up 2.6%, but on Saturday it jumped another 5.9%. The Bitcoin was up 2.6% on the week, and it was quoted as 60,564. That's all for the week. Have a good week. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you next Sunday. Thank you and goodbye.